The leader of Russia's Wagner group, the mercenary group, says he is pulling his troops out of Bakhmut. That is that key Ukrainian city that we've been talking about. They've been trying to capture it for months. It now has heavy casualties. The leader of this group is publicly blasting Russian military leaders, accusing them of not supplying his men with ammunition. He posted an angry video on social media standing next to a pile of what he says were dead mercenaries. We have a warning now. We have blurred this video, but it is still very graphic.
These men here who died today are Wagner PMC. Their blood is still fresh. You think you are the masters of this life? You think you can dispose of their lives? You think because you have warehouses full of ammunition that you have that right?
The man you see there is Yevgeny Prigozhin. He is also a powerful oligarch known as Putin's chef because he operates a catering business and is very loyal to the Kremlin, or was once seen as so. He has been openly recruiting mercenaries from prisons, including convicted murderers, throwing them into the bloody fight in Bakhmut with little to no military training. Ukrainian forces say it has essentially been a meat grinder for these Wagner fighters. CNN's senior international security correspondent Nick Paton Walsh is live in Zaporizhia in eastern Ukraine. Nick, I wonder how significant you see this video and this announcement from Prigozhin as, given you've been covering this for so long.
Yeah, it is remarkable to hear this kind of open statement, and it's staggering to imagine that by the middle of next week, a group which has so publicly talked about the vital nature of the fight for Bakhmut, thrown thousands of lives of convicts, often with very little training or tactical awareness, into what, as you said, is the meat grinder, is now publicly telling the Russian Ministry of Defense and essentially Vladimir Putin that they're out by the middle of next week, just after the very important date in the Russian calendar of Victory Day on May the 9th. They're saying they're sort of sticking around to be sure that isn't, quote, spoiled. Now, it is an extraordinary challenge to the Kremlin on the surface, and certainly suggests that the rifts inside the Russian military, its different branches that seem to potentially have been healed in recent weeks, well, they're way out in the open. That video, that is a man essentially who's brought people to the front line and thrown them towards Ukrainian guns very callously, suddenly claiming to have great emotion for the bodies behind him. But it is an absolutely stark suggestion as to the poor condition of Russian forces and the bickering internally. I have to hold out the possibility that this might be some bid to get the Ukrainians to rush towards Bakhmut, seeing an opportunity. But I have to say, this is now 2 days, 3 days of very embarrassing things for Vladimir Putin. We have the drones over the Kremlin. Whatever happened there in reality, it's certainly not a good look to have to admit to 2 drones flying over the heart of your government and damaging the roof there with an explosion. And now we have a man who's probably one of the most public figures of the Russian military, saying that they're going to give up this deeply symbolic city that they've thrown thousands. Remember, a recent US assessment suggested 10,000 people may have died for Russia fighting for this city since December alone. And now here they are saying all of that will come to nothing unless they get military shells that they believe Russia is somehow holding onto in its warehouses. It may also be they're running out of them. Kaitlan?
Yeah, it's such a good point you make about how Prigozhin is now acting like he cares about their lives, about their well-being, when we've seen how they've been treated. And we should note, of course, Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson, not commenting, not confirming this so far. We'll see what they say this morning. Nick Paton Walsh, thank you for that report in Ukraine.
Cities across Ukraine are bracing for another day of missile and drone strikes from Russia after that suspicious pre-dawn attack on the Kremlin. The sound of air raid sirens and repeated explosions sent people running for shelter in Kyiv on Thursday evening. And then there was this frightening scene in the capital. That, though, was actually friendly fire, a malfunctioning Ukrainian drone shot down by Kyiv's Air Force. No casualties or injuries reported. Meanwhile, Moscow now says that the US directed the drone attack on the Kremlin early Wednesday. Russia called it an assassination attempt against President Vladimir Putin. The US National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby dismissed the claim as ridiculous and lies.